For years, they were stuck in the background. The best friend, the second lead, the nameless face, or the character gone by episode 4. But that era is over. Here are 8 K-drama actors who finally became the main character. Let's go! 8. Kang Ki-young.
잘했어요. 숨겨진 쟁점을 잘 찾았어. 이런 건 내가 먼저 봤어야 되는데 내 생각이 짧았네.
If you've watched enough K-dramas, you already know Kang Ki-young. He's that instantly recognizable face. Sometimes hilarious, sometimes annoying in the best way, sometimes genuinely unsettling. In weightlifting, Fairy Kim Bok-ju, he was Bok-ju's uncle, a lovable wannabe actor at the family chicken restaurant who brought warmth, comedy, and heart to her home life. In What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, he played Park Seo-joon's longtime best friend, delivering peak banter, advice, and low-key chaos. Then he flipped the switch in While You Were Sleeping, popping up as a villainous, genuinely terrifying presence who challenged the leads and raised the stakes. Proof he could be unsettling when needed. And honestly, who could forget Extraordinary Attorney Woo? As Jang Woo-seok, the senior attorney and mentor, he became the firm's real-world guide. Strict but caring, practical, yet deeply human. All of that leads perfectly into Queen of Divorce, where he finally takes center stage as Dong Ki-jun. This time, he's not the sidekick or the punchline. He's a true co-lead with romance, history, and real emotional weight. After years of commanding attention from the sidelines, Kang Ki-young finally gets his headliner moment, and it's absolutely well-deserved. 7. Park Eun-bin.
제 이름은 똑바로 읽어도 거꾸로 읽어도 우영우입니다. 기러기 토마토 스위스 인도인 별똥별 우영우.
What happens when a child actress grows up without cutting corners and waits for the right moment to take over the screen? You get Park Eun-bin. She grew up in the industry, quietly stacking smaller roles and letting her craft do the talking. Early historicals like Empress Cheonchu, Queen Seondeok, Yebek, and Secret Door weren't built around her, but every time she appeared, you noticed. Then, Hello, My 20s happened, and that's where things really clicked. She wasn't the main lead, and the story wasn't centered on Song Ji-won, yet she somehow became the character everyone talked about. Loud, chaotic, fearless, endlessly quotable. By then, it was obvious. Park Eun-bin wasn't just great in ensembles, she was already giving leading lady energy. So when she finally got main roles, she didn't waste the chance. Do You Like Brahms? Proved she could carry a quiet, emotional story on her own. The King's Affection raised the bar even higher with a demanding dual-identity Crown Prince role, backed by major awards and a historic international Emmy win for the series. Then came the drama that sealed it, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Woo Young-woo became a full-blown phenomenon, and Park Eun-bin walked away with a Baeksang Arts Awards Daesang, the clearest sign that she has become a beloved star who can carry a drama to success.
59회 백상 예술대상 TV 부문 대상 하나 둘 셋 박은빈님 축하드립니다.
She kept the momentum going with Castaway Diva, anchoring the show's emotional core before flipping the tone entirely in Hyper Knife, stepping into dark, intense thriller territory. Park Eun-bin paid her dues, and when her star moment finally arrived, she proved it was always meant to be hers. 6. Ahn Bo-hyun.
안녕하십니까. JQ 에너지 대표 선재규입니다.
Remember when Ahn Bo-hyun was just that guy you kept recognizing in K-dramas? The bully you hated, the best friend you felt bad for, the soldier you suddenly noticed on a rewatch. A lot of fans first really noticed him in Itaewon Class as Jang Geun-won, the rich kid villain you love to hate and the reason the revenge plot even exists. Then he flipped the vibe in her private life, delivering peak second lead energy as Nam Yoon-gi, the loyal best friend quietly nursing feelings while being dragged into rom-com chaos. And if you've ever rewatched Descendants of the Sun, you probably had that "wait, is that him?" moment when Piccolo showed up with Alpha Team. Eventually, he proved that headlining a drama was well within his reach. Rom-com, action, thriller, name it all. Yumi's cells made him a certified boyfriend debate topic as Gyu-young, awkward with emotions, painfully sincere, and impossible to ignore. In My Name, he leaned into gritty action as Detective Jeon Pil-do, all tension and distrust. Military prosecutor Doberman sealed the deal, letting him carry a revenge-driven role with real weight and edge. He didn't slow down after that. See You in My 19th Life showed his softer, more emotional side as Moon's Seo-ha, while Flex Ex-Cop fully embraced his action star energy with a chaebol-turned detective who solves crimes by throwing money, brains, and fists at the problem. And with Spring Fever lined up, where he plays an intimidating CEO who's actually a softie. It really feels like he's locked into leading man territory. After years of being memorable on the sidelines, Ahn Bo-hyun finally got the spotlight. And it couldn't have gone to a more deserving actor. 5. Park Gyu-young.
원래 그렇게 무례한 사람이 아닌데 저 때문에 감정이 격해진 것 같아서 마음에 두지 마시라고요.
Ever had that feeling where an actor pops up in a drama full of big stars and somehow your eyes keep drifting back to her? That's been Park Gyu-young for a while. Even in stacked ensemble casts, she had this quiet way of making it clear. I matter to this story, even if my screen time says otherwise. In It's Okay to Not Be Okay, she played Namju-ri, surrounded by larger-than-life characters, yet grounding the show as the emotional, normal human. Then, Sweet Home turned her into one of the most recognizable survivors in a massive cast. Baseball bat in hand, scared but standing her ground, she became a viewer magnet and even earned a Baeksang Best New Actress nomination. She carried that presence into The Devil Judge, once again holding her own among heavy hitters as a justice-driven lieutenant who refused to fade into the background. Then came the shift everyone was waiting for. Dolly and Cocky Prince finally put her front and center, letting her lead a rom-com with confidence, elegance, and unexpected charm. From there, she didn't play it safe. Celebrity let her explore darker, sharper territory as the face of a fame-driven revenge story before she swung back to rom-com fantasy charm in A Good Day to Be a Dog, demonstrating her range all over again. Park Gyu-young is exactly the kind of actress whose time in the spotlight feels like it's just getting started. And honestly, she's one of those K-drama leads you can't help but get excited to see what she's capable of next. 4. Byeon Woo-seok.
난 행복했어. 너와 함께한 모든 순간이. 좋아한다, 나보라.
One of the most satisfying wins on this list. Byeon Woo-seok might be one of the most in-demand actors right now, but for a long time, he was exactly where most actors start. In the background, sometimes without a name, sometimes just passing through scenes and hoping you'd remember his face. His early years were full of blink-and-you-miss-it moments. He popped up briefly in Moon Lovers. Scarlet Heart Ryo as Go Ha-jin's ex-boyfriend showed up again in Weightlifting Fairy Kim. Bok-ju as one of Jun-hyung's swimmer seniors. Flower Crew, Joseon Marriage Agency let him play charming and resourceful as an informant with a romance thread. Record of Youth gave him real emotional space as the perfect on-paper best friend dealing with privilege and pressure. By Moonshine, he was openly grabbing attention as a rebellious crown prince, and strong girl Nam-soon showed he could flip into full villain mode and dominate the screen. And then everything clicked. By 2024, Byeon Woo-seok stepped into the male lead role in Lovely Runner, a drama some people almost skipped, only for it to turn into a full-blown global obsession. A huge part of that? Him. His character, Sunjae, is an idol actor caught in a time-slip romance, and Byeon Woo-seok made every version of him hit. The soft charm, the quiet heartbreak, the emotional whiplash across timelines. The story worked because he worked. This wasn't just his first undeniable leading role, it was the kind of breakout that opens doors actors spend years chasing. 3. Ahn Eun-jin.
그 말을 하러 왔다?
예, 절대 만나주지 않을 터이니 그리 아셔요. 그럼 할 말 다 했으니 전 이만.
왜 안 만나주겠다는 거예요?
You know those actors who don't get the biggest roles, but somehow you feel them in every scene they're in? That's Ahn Eun-jin. In Kingdom, she was used as leverage, and her quiet survival turned palace power games into something brutally personal. Strangers from Hell showed her as the grounded police officer you kept hoping would step in and stop the horror. And in Diary of a Prosecutor, she played the low-key office presence that made the entire workplace feel real. Then, Hospital Playlist happened. As Chu Min-ha, the overworked OB/GYN resident with zero filter and a lot of heart, she became a full-on fan favorite. She carried that emotional pull straight into The Good Bad Mother, where she held the story together as its steady emotional anchor. And then came the role that changed everything. In My Dearest, she plays Yoo Gil-chae, the admired, confident it girl of her village whose life is torn apart by war. Holding her own opposite Nam Gung-min, she delivered a full transformation that stuck. The drama extended to 21 episodes, an extended finale, awards across the board, and Ahn Eun-jin emerging as a certified award-winning lead. She followed that with Dynamite Kiss, going full rom-com as a woman living a double life at work. The show topped ratings for weeks, hit number 1 on Netflix's global chart, and even earned her a Best Couple win. Ahn Eun-jin built up to this moment the long way. And now she's everywhere, not just the scene stealer, not just the emotional anchor, but the headliner. 2. Jang Ki-yong.
한 번 더 할까요?
네?
방금 그거 한 번 더 하자고.
Some actors you just keep noticing before you even realize why. That was Jang Ki-yong for years. In Go Back Couple, he played Jung Nam-gil, the perfect ROTC upperclassman everyone crushes on, adding second lead pressure and nostalgia-fueled tension to the romance. The Liar and his lover put him in the band world as Ji and Ho, the charismatic, spotlight-loving presence inside the love triangle. Then came the role that flipped everything. In My Mister, he played Lee Kwang-il, a loan shark tied to IU's past and pain. Brutal, unsettling, and unforgettable, this was the performance that made viewers go, "Oh, he's not just a pretty face." And then Jang Ki-yong finally became the main guy. He cracked open his leading man era with Come and Hug Me, carrying an emotionally heavy role as a detective haunted by his serial killer father's mistakes. He eased into grown-up romance with Now We Are Breaking Up, solidifying his status as a polished leading man. After that, the atypical family showed its quieter strength. As Bok Wi-ju, a man weighed down by grief and loss, his performance was restrained, tender, and surprisingly moving. And then came his most recent glow-up, Dynamite Kiss. As Gong Ji-hyuk, the perfectionist team leader, slowly losing control to love, he got to be romantic, funny, emotionally vulnerable. At this point, it's kind of unfair. He's got the height, the face, the range, and the acting chops to back it up. And if this is what his recent roles look like, it's pretty clear. Jang Ki-young's main character era isn't peaking yet. It's only getting better from here. 1. Shin Hye-sun.
그리고 사랑하는데 어쩔 수 없이 헤어지는 게 그 말이 돼? 그 로미오와 줄리엣이야?
Let's be honest, Shin Hye-sun's drama list is basically a K-drama favorites playlist now, the kind where you trust the casting before you even read the synopsis. And the best part, she didn't start as that lead. She earned it the long way. Before she was a guaranteed headliner, Shin Hye-sun was literally a nameless extra. She showed up early in school 2013 as a minor schoolgirl role. People really started noticing her in Oh My Ghost as Kang Yoon-hee, the chef's younger sister whose tragic hit-and-run backstory quietly carried a huge chunk of the show's emotional weight. And by the time she appeared in The Legend of the Blue Sea as Cha Shi-ah and Stranger as Young Yoon-soo, casual viewers already knew the rule. If Shin Hye-sun is on screen, she matters to the story. Then, finally, she got her main character moment, and it wasn't just any project. My Golden Life became that drama. It peaked at over 45% ratings, and she carried a 52-episode weekend drama almost entirely on her back. Still 17 proved she could be innocent and quietly heartbreaking. Angel's Last Mission. Love showed she could play grief, guarded vulnerability, and love without overselling it. And just when you thought you had her range figured out, Mr. Queen happened. A hilariously unhinged, wildly unique historical drama that she absolutely carried. Now, with recent leads like See You in My 19th Life and Welcome to Samdalri, she's proved that healing rom-coms are just as good. And with The Art of Sarah on the way, the momentum is only building. If her career proves anything, it's this. Slow burn success lasts longer and hits harder than one-hit wonders, and that's a wrap. Crazy to think some of today's biggest stars started as extras, right? So, who's your favorite glow-up? Drop it in the comments. And while you're here, check out the most booked K-drama actors of 2026.